How you guys doing?
Good, good.
Obviously we're at a hip hop museum with a lot of hip hop people, so we're gonna do it the hip hop way, right?
Yes, sir.
Welcome everybody to the space. This is the South African Hip Hop Museum here at Museum Africa in Newtown, Johannesburg, the biggest cultural precinct in the country. And we're going to have such a super cool session today because for the longest of time, a lot of people have been trying to understand what is this hip hop museum, what is happening. So I know there's quite a lot of people that's their first time into the space because since in the last four years we've been, tuned.
Let me thank Osmic for this great initiative. And like he says, it's been a long journey for him and those that he works with to be able to put this great concept into reality. But also to acknowledge that we have with amongst us our minister, whose department at National has played quite an instrumental role in supporting projects like this. And this is important because it's about capturing a culture, capturing a sound that has really taken and captured much of the young population. So, Minister, this is not a small project, but it's really about putting into a space the memory and a movement that has inspired a lot of people. Hip-hop, as we all know, is celebrated globally. It's known as being something that is prominent within the West, but you can't escape its roots in this country and in this province in particular. Borrowing and transcending from poetry, storytelling, and so forth. But it really has been a medium, as we indicate, that has captured the voices of the young people, the various trials and tribulations that they go through. And one of the things that hip-hop has been able to do has at times to raise the consciousness of society. And I know for most of us who care about that, is that we've been through hip-hop, been able to raise the consciousness of society. And that is critical. Because it's about ensuring that you translate that which people are going through today, but have them give hope and you inspire them for the type of tomorrow that they want to see. And hip-hop has been able to do this. And so yes, right now there may be amapiano and so forth, but even they have borrowed from this sound. If you listen to some of the rap that goes into those songs that are amapiano, it's not the instrumental which is amapiano, but the wording, the music, the content can't be removed, or its origins cannot be removed from hip-hop or poetry or storytelling. So it's going to evolve over time, but what he has started now is a project which we think and we hope that a lot more people will be able to be inspired by, so that the other genres, he was saying earlier that the likes of Kwaito, amapiano and so forth, if they too could begin things of this nature, so that when those that come after us can be able to come into these spaces and be able to understand the generations of today. So I'm not here to give a long speech, but it was really to give a message of support and to indicate that the department is very proud of this project, but to also thank our minister for the instrumental role that he is playing in supporting projects of this kind. And I think this is critical. You can see with the amount of interest that is here. So once that you officially launch and you are concluded with this project, I think there may be things that you may want to look into, how you partner even with schools, art schools and so forth, and how you bring them here as part of the syllabus of the work that they're doing. And I think that will deal with some of the issues of sustainability and so forth that we may be able to look into. But those are further discussions that we could explore. But let me thank everybody for being here today. We believe that this is a great project, and let's thank the great minds that have put it here together for us. Thank you.
Once again, welcome everybody into the space, and this gentleman over here that I call my big boss, you know, it's been an interesting journey for some time with Minister Nathi Mthethwa, where the conversation started, and I think it's only fair to backtrack sort of how we get to this, because obviously there'll be a lot of those like, how do we get this? So I think about 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago, the minister had asked to see the hip hop fraternity. So, the contributors, whether it's the promoters, whether it's the artists, whether it's the DJs, whether it's the graffiti or the b-boys. So there was an engagement with the Minister of the Culture, and he basically wanted to understand what assistance does the culture need? What is it that we're doing? Since some are filling domes and some are filling Mary Fitzgerald Square, some are spinning around the world, and it's at that place and time where I presented what it is that Ritual Media Group does, where obviously we do the Back to the City Hip Hop International Festival that takes place on the 27th of April outside here in Newtown. It's a 15-year-old festival with over 25,000 people, and we also do the South African Hip Hop Awards that are on their 10th year. So, and at that engagement is where then we said, this is what we're busy with. The idea is, we have seen how, for instance, growing up, South African bubblegum was the music of the day. Jazz was the music of the day at some point. Kwaito was the music of the day. House music, when it was called international music, was the music of the day. But when you look now, a kid born 16 years ago, 14 years ago, 10 years ago, does not know anything about what Dumasila was doing, or what Triple Nine was doing, or what Brenda Fassie was filling up stadiums, right? I mean, you all know there was that whole big argument where everyone said, yeah, Brenda Fassie filled, and someone said, show me the proof, right? Because here's Casper's proof, show me the proof. And it is then when we said, but at some point in time, in the next 30, 40 years, when someone like myself is 60, 70 years of age, when Anu is 100 years of age, my elder man, definitely when Vokes is, 120. This culture will end up being another, oral history. Will be another, we'll be saying, at some point there was graffiti under the pillar, at some point there was this happening, and we said, look, we've got the energy, and we've got this little money to start this idea. And that's when we approached the city of Joburg via Arts and Culture. We started speaking to a good guy called Zola and Mr. Voislem Shibuli here at Museum Africa with this idea to say, because Newtown is very much rooted within the culture because of the graffiti outside, because of the festival that we do outside, how feasible and how possible is it for us to get a space within the museum, because also the beauty about the space is that there's quite a lot of school tours that come into the space. So it made the most sense to say, how do we then spark this situation? But obviously the biggest challenge was we had never done a museum in our lives. We do not know how to do a museum in our lives, and that's when the research started, where we were lucky enough to start touring some of the museums around the world, whether it was a museum in New York, whether it was a museum in China, to start understanding what is a museum, how do we put this together, but most importantly, how do we create something that could last long but also be very much intriguing. And that's how we end up then 4 years ago, after our presentation to the minister, started crafting the space. And it was definitely a hard journey to get here, because the biggest thing has always been when we say to people we're doing the hip-hop museum, in the beginning they were like laughing at us, so it was very disheartening, because everyone said, why would you do a museum? But museums are done by government. And we said, but why can't, who said that? Where's the rule book? This is something that we're very much passionate about, because in the circle of everyone we work with, there's all these amazing people, from a DJ Ken Zero, who does all these amazing things around the world, to a Volt who has, collaboration with Nixon watches, and he's doing things with Red Bull, and to an ammunition, with obviously all this work that he's done. So the question was, why can't we as a culture get together and have this conversation and support each other? And this is how the building of this space happens.
Hola. Mthethwa mfethu. Guys, ingathi ngoba kunabavakashi ngibrave. Hola. I tried, folks. I don't know. I think it's with hip hop, maybe abona abantu bayathuka. I don't understand. But Oz asked me to come up here. Firstly, he said ingathukani. I'll try. It's okay. And what was it I was going to just talk about the journey, right? Yeah, man. It's a weird one, because some of us, our journey, most of you were still in diapers, and it's great to see, hip hop growing like this, and we're not meeting just to battle, and we're here to come together for something meaningful. So when I'm always on stage, I always try to plead. My time is gone, so I'm always trying to plead for the next generation. Remember, the last time we met, to look at Tina, my time is gone, but we can try help the new generation, and then I understand, because since the 90s we've been fighting either government or the media to acknowledge hip-hop, and we've tried. Folks, but we travel the world together, and wherever we go, people are amazed. Like South Africans, they can breakdance, they can rap, they can DJ, they can speak English, even wear shoes, Jordans, and you come back home and people are like, my punk. You know what I mean? And the journey will be told one day. It wasn't easy coming up in Soweto and Nabo Selvin back in the 80s and being called Ipanka, and to the stage now where guys are like, "Hey, it's been a great journey, but all I always beg for is, there is no structure like this anywhere in the world, especially for hip-hop. And we've always had that argument that hip-hop is not South African, but hip-hop is derivative in any form. You go anywhere, to Japan, you go to Fiji, you can spot a hip-hop head from just the dress sets. And I don't understand why even people like the UN have never used hip-hop to bring people together. That still puzzles me. Like how America uses Hollywood to sell American propaganda. We've had artists that go overseas and they get there to radio stations, the host gets surprised with, yo, Nasisi, wow, you can rap, oh, Casper, oh, you can rap, And I think if there is an agenda, whether it's good or bad, that we need to push in the world, there is a vehicle. Who else probably invited people last night and people rocked up. And it's all because for this man right here. It's not for anything else, to be honest with you. It's for this man right here and his vision. So, all I'm begging for, not even for me, is support this guy. If you support this guy, but if you support this guy, then you will see the fruits, And then we move on. But all I'm saying is, and I'll say it again, like every time I meet my honorable politicians, is sikhona. Use us. As much as Abu Brenda Fassi overturned the government and stuff, we were playing our part. Abu POC, they were playing their part. And we are here and we are saying we keep coming, we keep coming to you guys, and we will keep coming. If it's the next generation or the next one, we will keep coming. Like Premier said, we like roaches, we never die. And we'll always be here. Like I'm saying, it's not just about mine, it's about support. You know, these ladies go overseas and you see on YouTube, they get crazy views on YouTube. I would love, for example, if a kid is in New York, let the ambassador of South Africa over there have dinner with the kid and make a big hoo-ha about it. And then people in the US are gonna go, oh, you must be something important, Wena. You know what I mean? And that's all the support we need. We've got SAA, we still do, right? Yeah. For example, if kids go over there, you know, support them with tickets. It's things like that. And having the moral support from you guys, it's not just about money, just the moral support, to say, guys, go out there and represent us. What vehicle do you need? We've got overseas guys that fly over here with their money, that come here to support this initiative. And it's the easiest way to bring the kids together, even just nationally. There's a Kenya saying, there's guys that run stuff, it sounds weird, man. There's guys that run ish in KZN, there's guys that run ish in Cape Town, there's guys that run ish, you know, in Eastern Cape, Bloemfontein. If you want to bring, I'm challenging you, Fred. If you want to bring this nation together, especially the youth, try bring those people together. Put money on the table and run away and see what will happen. See what will happen. It's the only way the youth of this country will actually get together in one uniform thing, because it's everywhere. There's a king of hip hop in every corner of this country. And like I'm saying, you are here, support this man, Fred.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rose. I am a professional breakdancer, which is a b-boy, the guy that's spinning the heads. Well, I can say I'm an athlete now, because we're part of the Olympics right now, which is amazing, because that's like after 40 years that, you know, something from the hip-hop culture is part of the Olympics, which is really amazing. It just shows how powerful the hip-hop culture is, basically, the influence that we have. And it's still the #1 educational tool in the world. You know, hip-hop is this vehicle that have the 5th element, which is knowledge of self, and that's how we educate people, educate others, basically, through the arts that we do. So if you want to go to any school, then you want to speak about whatever, you know, government wants to speak to. Music and dance is always the thing that will grab the attention of the youth, basically. And that's how POC and all these other groups was used by the government, basically, you know, to speak to the youth. Yeah, so I'm from the Cape Flats. As someone was saying, like, it wasn't easy to grow up in Soweto. With the Cape Flats, it's something else. It's rough. It's something else. But the amazing thing about the Cape Flats is there's a lot of good people that come from the Cape Flats. There's a lot of good people that comes from Soweto. So we're tired of that kind of story, basically. We're here to inspire, we're here to teach, we're here to represent our country and our communities worldwide. And I just want to speak about from a community level, community programs, basically. And that's why I'm standing right here, because if there was no Black Noise or Ramon or POC that came to our communities and planted the seed, I wouldn't be standing here and having this conversation with you guys. So community programs is very important. It's super important. School programs, it's super important because that's the beginning and that's the start, basically. And those programs are instrumental. It shapes a young person. It gives a young person the opportunity to say, like, this is what I want to do. This is what I like, this is what I don't like, basically. And for me, it was dance, because I was a very shy guy, but I loved music. So dance was the first thing that, that kind of hooked me. The first time I got a head spin right, I was like, okay, cool, should I go and hang out with my friends and trying to rob people or maintain being in a gang and be a cool kid? I'd have to make that decision, And for me, it was like hip-hop was the answer, dance was the answer, basically. So being in school, going through this community project, it's crazy, because being in high school and you're already touring the world, the USA, Germany, Sweden, Norway, and you come back, you tell the story to your classmates, they don't understand it. They haven't been on the bus, they haven't been to the beach, they haven't been at all these places, which is crazy. That's how it is when you come from the township or from the hood, basically. You stay in the hood, that's the mindset. So for me, it was always like, okay, cool, so I come back home, I perform with Beyonce's, I perform with all PDD, Cypress Hill. They call us up, they want to know about South Africa. And I got depressed when I come back home. I'm like, now what? And for me, it was always about how do you go back to the community and plant that seed and make sure there's another vote coming up, there's another ammo coming up, And Switch, he's my partner in crime. So there was no consistent dancing on TV, basically. There was nothing like that. As we're saying, we were always fighting media, TV, radio, just to show love to hip-hop, basically. And we had this idea that, we want to get on TV, and, we want to be just showing what we do, basically, because we know the impact that hip-hop or dance had on us, basically. So trying to get a bigger avenue, and that's how we landed the Yo TV deal, basically. And for 5 years we were on Yo TV. Now people like, oh, that's where we know them from, Yo TV. Yeah, guys, so we were on Yo TV. We were on Yo TV for 5 years, being in households for over 5 years, and 1 million people watching us every single weekend. That was a game changer for the dance, basically. And that time, it was so instrumental because we created platforms which is Solo Pro and 2-on-2s that became the most important dance platforms in South Africa, basically. Through those platforms, we feed families, we send people overseas, we did all these amazing things. And today, we are history again, Hip Hop Museum. Thank you once again, Oz, for doing this. I know it's a team effort, but if how Amma was saying, if we support Osmi, the rest of the culture will be looked after. And to the media as well, it's very important to write about this. It's very important to speak about this. It's very important to come in and see what we do. If the minister wasn't here, I would wonder if you guys would come through and just come and see the space, basically. You know what I'm saying? So hip-hop is not about a person. Hip-hop is a movement. Hip-hop is a culture. So it's only you guys that can help us tell our stories, basically, with no hype around it. This is real life. Hip-hop saved lives. That's how important this culture is, basically. So yes, this is what we do. We're passionate about this. We went through hard time as artists, but without passion and love, it's kind of useless. So once again, thank you so much for being part of this journey. Thank you so much for supporting this. All we can do right now is plant the seed and inspire others, right, Amu? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Oz. Thank you so much, sir.
It's a really good afternoon today to be here with all of you under these conditions of COVID-19. We wish would have passed that period. It's true that the bulk of the creative sector consists of youth. The youth being the future and the now of this industry and our country broadly. As I was watching the video there, I remember that what stuck to my mind when I met the team led by Osmic of SA Hip Hop, one thing which stuck was that you guys were making it bold and clear to me that you own your genre. That was clear, and it's still with me that you own your genre. And you wanted partnerships. That's why you were engaging us as government. You didn't come with a begging bowl. You did your work, you did your homework, your research work and so on. And you said, well, we are not tall, Minister and the government, this is how short we are. Can you come to the party? So as we come to the party here, we know we're coming to the party of SA Hip Hop. It's your party, it's not our party. Ours is to be an enabler. And when we committed ourselves that we'll actually assist you, we were persuaded by the vision you have. From Osmic to everybody who spoke here, you could hear, including my brother, Daman Gos, Sigal Ku. You could hear and you could feel the passion, but the vision. That it's not about the here and now, but about posterity. So we are here today, and what is happening here will stay here forever. Nobody would not know what is SA Hip Hop all about. And it comes at a right time for us as government, where we are reaching out to the sector, the stakeholders, and say to them, can we work together to ensure that we have sustainable recovery plan for this economy, and not just entertainers. This is cultural and creative economy, very important, and a resilient economy at that, which needs support, boost for it to grow. We committed ourselves then, and when we said so, some cynics were saying, well, we are saying that because a year or two there's going to be elections, so we are election. No, we're committed. We're committed, and each time we interact with you, we get committed more, looking at your professionalism, looking at your visionary thought. And for us, that is very important. Now, the presidential stimulus, which has been, extended to different departments, where the president is injecting life in our departments. We got something recently from the president, and we had raised the issue of this museum, that it's very important, not only for now, but for generations to come. It's important that it's supported. And we're able to get something, and that's something we said Hip Hop Museum is the thing to go to. We need to put our money where our mouth is, to hip hop. In fact, you are not the only beneficiary this time around, because it wasn't very big kind of cake we got this time around. It was 50 million rands. And we said District 6 in Cape Town should benefit because of who District 6 is. We also said the Pants Museum in KwaZulu-Natal. So it's the three of you who are sharing in this cake. Now, we, from the shores of Cape Town, with the formation of the Prophet of the City and Black Noise in the late 80s, the establishment of the club in Johannesburg, today hip hop is global, and in South Africa is an expression of identity. You can't miss the point of identity. Each and everyone is talking about it. I hear, well, we accept the fact that the movement started in the US. We accept that fact. But we also say that it has all the traces of Africa. Even if you look at some of the pioneers of hip hop, even how they decided to be known, going back to their roots. I must make a disclaimer here that Africa Bambata and the Universal Zulu Nation is one such. And that tells you the disclaimer I'm making is what happened later with Africa Bambata, but the fact of the matter, the origins are very much linked to Africa. We have Ngosi here with us, is a living example of how hip hop has been close to ourselves as Africa, not only South Africa. Now, a journalist who goes by the name of Vusimus Phakathi wrote in 2019 about hip hop in South Africa, and this is what he says. He said then, and I quote, shifted from the cameos on lifestyle shows like Street Journal to having the most glamorous music videos overpowering even dance music on TV. SA hip hop has become in itself a form of dance music, selling out arenas and dominating music and video awards. This is what the journalist said. Now, we have said that 2 million would be used here for job creation. And we're looking at 844 new jobs, but also the retention of the current staff of 20 members with this initiative here. And the type of jobs that will be created will be for researchers and hip hop artists between the ages of 18 and 35, and those, in all intents and purposes, are youth for young people. This cohort is finding it increasingly more difficult to gain experience. Wherever they go, this youth, people ask them about the experience. So they find it difficult to gain experience and skills which they can take into the job market. That's 2 million rands we wanted to do, because this whole thing is premised on science. Science, evidence-based through research. And 7 million is for the rehabilitation of the space and infrastructure investment. The infrastructure investment will facilitate the hosting of workshops and talks. We'll also have a recording studio, as you have seen, an editing studio facility, a recording studio and editing studio will be open to the public. The workshops for the students will transfer skills to assist them that they will need for the journey ahead, and they also have an opportunity to have access into the space going forward once it's launched. The museum will also be collaborating with different people from the arts, culture and heritage who do outreach programs and who also are interested in the spreading of knowledge. The various educational and skills transfer workshops that are already being set up are a 6-day music production workshop stroke masterclass for 20 students headed by Neil Tesson with guest lectures from artists such as LTD. 2 workshop or masterclasses for 20 students headed by legendary hip-hop producer, artist, none other than Ammunition. Guest lectures from artists such as Damani Bosi and Omen, the chef, to name a few. 20 student DJ workshop that will be headed by the legendary Kenneth Nzama with 5 guest lectures. The music has already hosted a holiday program in Cape Town for the dance community that had guest lectures from legends such as DJ D and Ramon from the Prophets of the City. Since the beginnings of hip-hop as an underground urban movement in the US, as we've seen here in the 1970s, the global hip-hop industry has grown into multi-billion-dollar industry, crossing into the fashion industry, and that is why it's referred to as culture. It's not referred to as a genre, and it ends there. It's street wear, it's sneakers and jewelry, and mega music concerts and events, graffiti, and the movie industries. We are going to be with you in this journey. And what has impressed us most is that you know that for every cent which is coming from the fiscus has to be accounted for. What impresses us about yourselves, over and above your professionalism, is a clear pipeline of linking all the genres in the country, not only looking at your genre, looking at the dance in this country, and that whole thing says you have people who have clarity of vision and nobility of thought, and we support that. We will always support things which take our country forward, and that's why we are saying here that we support you, because we have said to us and we've demonstrated how we are going to create jobs. How is this museum going to be sustained? Your plans are impressive. What I would urge from you is that please engage some of your colleagues who are in other genres, that there is nothing which will trump clear vision. Noise won't help. When you make a lot of noise, you can't hear. But if you know that you have ideas which are going to take this country forward, you are going to be supported. My conclusion, I want to quote American hip hop artist KRS-One, who was here, and he said, "Rap is what you do, hip hop is what you do." Thank you very much.
What's good? Representing Soweto, what's up? this was quick.
He's good. When he does that,
Yeah.
the one
Well, this is the test so that you can see. Yeah. So this is Mr. Xe. Maybe you guys just tell us a little bit. You know what? I saw him when he was touching. Yes, I mean, we are a hip-hop generation that comes from different elements. Some of us didn't find or didn't have a very strong voice. So it translated to having a very good hand. So from a very good hand, we have we develop images that can change and shape our, or even shaped us. You know, so this is where it started for us. So another representation of the four elements in hip hop, which is the DJ, the MC, graffiti, and breakdance.
Now you have to choose one artwork from all of this. So the idea is once you choose one, everyone else chooses. And this piece by him connects all of us. All of us.
It will be a hard choice.
Everything is made up of glass. Now you need one glass.
That's right. Okay. So
That one.
mark it from the back. Now you have
Sign it and number it.
Ifaka nje signature. So Mr. Excel.
I think put a number.